Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Sumi Sukanya Datta and you are watching Health and You. Recently, the National Health Commission, Medical Commission, which is a regulator for doctors and medical education in India, came out with new faculty recruitment guidelines for medical colleges. The NMC has said that this is meant to address the shortage of doctors, faculties in medical colleges, but this is being seen as dilution of norms which may adversely impact the quality of medical education in the long run. To discuss everything around this issue, we have with us Dr. Ravi Wankhekar and Dr. Thomas Chako. Dr. Wankhekar has been associated with the Government Medical College in Dhule, Maharashtra for a long time and has also been the president of the Indian Medical Association. Dr. Chako is Dean Medical Education and Professor of Community Medicine at a medical college in Kerala and has also been associated with the World Federation of Medical Association. Thank you so much, Dr. Wankhekar and Dr. Chako, for joining us in the chat today.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, Dr. Wankhekar, could you please first, before we delve into the subject that we are going to discuss, we have been seeing the approval of new medical colleges, the increase in MBBS and PG equivalent seats every year, and this has been particularly very stark over the last 1 decade. So, how do you see this rise in medical colleges as well as seats in medicine? Dr. Wankhekar.
Thank you, Sumi, for hosting us and discussing a very important topic which concerns the health of the common people.
Absolutely.
The spree with which in the last decade the government has gone about in opening up new medical colleges practically in every district. I feel this is not a good move because neither we have the human resources, neither the infrastructure in place to open a medical college. Personally, to be very honest, this appears to be a political move where the government can claim that we have doubled, we have trebled the UG and PG seats. Nothing more. A medical college needs not only requisite staff but also requisite patients so that the students can have a first-hand clinical experience. Most of the districts already are having private medical colleges where government colleges are coming up. And this divides the number of patients which is available as a clinical material. A medical college differs entirely from an engineering, a management, or any other science college, where you don't have to have patients as clinical material to become good doctors. And if you are unable to teach them properly due to lack of staff and lack of patients, the quality of doctors which is going to come out is going to be abysmally low, thereby affecting the health of common people or endangering the health of common people. So there should be a master plan according to the population and need of that particular geographical area, and accordingly that government should open up medical colleges, not just if there is a demand or a political necessity. It should be according to a regular master plan.
Right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So, Dr. Thomas, we would also love to hear your thoughts on it. For long, we have known that while in most private medical colleges, especially who are not always up to mark, has always been this problem. But now, with all, like Dr. Wankhekar pointed out, now that all district hospitals are also practically being upgraded into medical colleges, this problem has also perlocated to government medical colleges. What do you think about opening of left, right, and center seats in medicine going up?
I agree with Dr. Wankekar's statements so far, which is justifiable. What he has mentioned is the master plan or the population-based achievement of ratios of doctor-patients population. So we should go by that ratio and aim for it. And we should avoid speedy implementation of the achievement of the targets that have been set. Um, Another matter of concern, which I suppose the government is striving to address, is the vast gap between the number of graduates that we are producing and the number of PG seats that are available. Almost 40,000 PG seats are shortfall compared to the number of graduates coming out. And so maybe to address that component, the new medical colleges and the new policy or statement that has been issued by the government is coming out. But as Dr. Vankirkar mentioned, safety concerns for the patient is of paramount importance. So we need to have a system in place so that it assures that patient safety is assured. And which includes, of course, besides teaching, doing the assessment of the students, both on simulated as well as real patients, so that the patient outcomes patient safety is ensured. So, what government measures have been, or announcements are all directed towards the inputs, number of hospitals, number of beds, and all those things, and number of teachers, which obviously there is a shortfall of teachers compared to the number of teachers that are available. Um, and so it is important that we don't give or declare a graduate as having passed unless the competencies of the graduates are ensured, and the current system of assessment, we do conduct assessments, but they are not measuring all the competencies. And so we need to address all competencies that the doctor, the graduate doctor in India, the NMC document says, basic doctor, and should be able to provide primary care and things like that. So we need to, we do have a list of competencies expected. We do have a definition of the Indian medical graduate, but we don't have systems in place yet to ensure that the doctors are acquiring all these competencies. The roadmap is there, but the testing methods, the methods of testing and ensuring the doctors are job ready, they are yet to be in place. But I am hopeful that NMC will pay attention to these points as it's a work in progress. But in a hurry, as what Dr. Vankirkar mentioned, things are being done in a hurry for reasons known to the government. So we need to have the system in place, and that is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important points. Yeah, sir, please go ahead, sir. You wanted to say
Yeah,
something.
just in continuation with Professor Chaco has said, the government always gives this narrative that we are short of doctors in India. But if we'll see the latest reply by the health minister in the parliament in the budget session, now India throughout the country has around one doctor for 833 persons, which is much better than the WHO recommended ratio of 1 to 1000. Certain southern states, especially where from Professor Chaco comes, like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, it is around 500. But there is a vast difference between the urban and rural availability of doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Now to now to address this, again, one, master plan is necessary. Second, a simple step. If you are opening medical colleges in difficult rural or tribal areas, at least 50% of those seats should be allocated to the local area population or that district graduate and made them compulsory to work into that particular district.
Yeah.
That is point number one. Point number two is, sir mentioned about UG and PG ratio. When we define Indian medical graduate and certain basic competencies after passing MBBS, it is not expected that each and every UG graduate should become a postgraduate. That has
Correct.
become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
UG students are passing out in large numbers and everybody wants to do a post graduation or a super specialization. While they are trained in the basic MBBS curriculum. Remember, MBBS is a double graduate. Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. No other stream offers double graduation. And who is going to become primary care physicians? MBBS graduates should be motivated, directed, and trained, and opportunities should be created for them to work as primary care physicians. This unnecessarily thought process that each UG should get a postgraduate seat itself is basically wrong. And very good point he made about assessment. Assessment at two levels: assessment of medical colleges, which unfortunately NMC has made it very easy, basically a virtual assessment. And secondly, assessment of the students. The question paper format today is of MCQ. It is, I am telling you, with a very what do you say, we huge responsibility and a very considerate statement that in today's MBBS examination, you have to take efforts to fail. While it was reversed previously, where one has to take lot of efforts to pass. With MCQs, short action questions, and long answer questions, it becomes extremely easy to pass. So this assessment method also has to be revisited. You have to add some lateral thinking in it, add soft skills, and then this student has to be made confident that on MBBS level he will be able, confident enough to practice as a primary care physician, because what we lack and what is most important for the common man is primary health care. If everybody is going after PG and super PG, who is going to take care of the primary health? That was my point. Thank you, Sumi.
Yeah. Yeah. So these two very important points here. One is oversupply. Probably is India looking at an oversupply of doctor probably who won't be employable, like what has happened in engineering over the last several decades. So is
Very
medical
true.
education also headed towards that direction? That's a very important question. We'll probably discuss it a little more detail a little later. But coming back to the main theme that we have for today. So the recent notification that has come out by the NMC, it does away in a way the senior residencyship, which was the mandatory for being a teacher in a medical college. Dr. Thomas, what do you think about it? Because there's so many people who are working within the government system but are not happy with this, saying that this will not, because not every doctor is actually trained or skilled to teach medical students. So that's a very important point being raised. What do you have to say about it, Dr. Chapo?
Yeah, this is a valid reason or justification, in the sense that they are not a statement of the fact that they are not trained, and so they require training. Even in countries where, like the UK, where they have teaching hospitals, beyond the medical college hospitals, the teaching hospital faculty have to undergo training, and systems are in place that ensure that the teaching learning processes are happening according to the need for competency development.
Yeah.
So we need to have those systems in place in India before we start considering the usual specialists as teachers, uh, and of course, as Professor Gangadharan in interview to Print indicated that they have a wealth of experience. So we could use the wealth of experience with some training as well as systems in place which captures the training of the trainee, the postgraduate courses. Mostly at the postgraduate courses, the learning or pedagogy, nobody takes class for them, but the essential role that is there is to provide them with learning opportunities in a structured way, proper planning of the curriculum and learning opportunities and competency progressions to be captured, a portfolio of competencies. UK has an online portfolio which at each stage of competency development gets captured. The specialists or the doctors at the teaching hospital give feedback on each patient encounter. So giving feedback to the postgraduate student uh, after a patient encounter so that the student becomes aware what he knows and is yet to know, so that next time they get a chance to interact with the patient, they make conscious effort to improve upon the skill. So a system, they have a system of the deanery system where everything is documented in a modular form. So you just go to General Medical Council website and the teaching hospitals and the deanery system. It's much more systematic. So without that system in place, simply allowing the students to learn by chance, or what is described in medical education parlance as the tea bag approach. You just put the tea bag and then you get the tea. So it's not as simple as that. There has to be a structured way of teaching, learning, and assessment, and then sufficient teaching learning opportunities need to be provided, documented, and captured in the portfolio, followed by a genuine examination, which actually tests whether they are able to know, whether they know what they are supposed to know as well as perform. So the passing is based on the performance on real patient finally. First, initially, they will start on simulated patients, simulators and all, just like an airlines pilot. And then under supervision, they are learning from supervisors. Supervisors need to be trained, and there can't be any shortcut in that. It's not impossible, but it is possible, as has been revealed by the UK system.
Yeah, interesting. Dr. Van Kherkar, would you like to share your thoughts as well?
Yes, if you'll see the new norms which NMC has proposed, there is a total dilution for becoming a teacher. This is
Yeah.
related to our first point of discussion, where there is because the government is on a spree of opening new medical colleges and they have realized that we are facing lots of shortage of staff. So now what they have done, they have decreased the standards who can become a teacher. In terms of the hospitals, where number of beds which were made compulsory, to the experience of a person, doctor, to become a teacher. Say a person who is working as in a government institution of around 220 beds, which most of the district hospitals are, a medical officer with 2 years of experience can become an assistant professor. Now, let me tell you on a practical note, the medical officer is totally engrossed in preventive medicine, filling up of registers, doing vaccinations, conducting national health programs, so forth and so on, that eventually he loses touch even of a clinical practice.
Okay.
Teaching medical teaching is a specialized job. and to allow them to become teachers directly, I think it's going to be a huge mistake. The another aspect of this particular policy is then if all of those medical officers in government sector become medical teachers, who is going to do the job of medical officers? Already we see
Absolutely. That's a very good
that
question.
there is
Yes.
a huge shortage in the public health department, especially in the rural areas, manning the primary health centers, sub centers, or rural hospitals or community health hospitals. If all of them, because they will obviously be wanting to come to cities where, at least in the district headquarters where the medical college is situated. So, who is going to fill up those vacancies? That is the second aspect. And as sir has said, teaching program, okay. But what is the track record of National Medical Commission in creating systems in place? I can give you a concrete example. In their policy document regarding telemedicine, the National Medical Commission has said that all the doctors who have to undertake telemedicine will have to do a course of 6 months. But for last 3 years, there has been no curriculum, no mention who is going to conduct the course, what will be the syllabus of the course, and how it will be conducted. And on without doing that, just making in the act does not create systems. And the unfortunately, track record of NMC is very bad on this count. So I feel diploma holders becoming teachers, medical officers becoming teachers, 10 years of experience, you become directly associate professor. Either, as sir said, having a robust, practical, strict, honest curriculum in place, exam in place, ask them to clear that, and then they should be given entry. Also allowing 30% non-medical people into the basic subjects. Again, that becomes a very tricky question. So overall, this dilution, ultimately, the medical teachers are the persons who are going to mold, teach the budding doctor. If they are of low standard, imagine the product which is they are going to train, what standard it is going to be, and again further endangering the life of common man.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. So it's a very good point again. Now, going back to the previous points that you were making about over population of linking population, whether there is a possibility of linking medical college with the population. So 2 years back, 1.5 year back, NMC had tried to bring in a norm saying that in southern states, for example, there would only be a medical college over 10 lakh population, but they had to withdraw it under pressure. They couldn't implement it. Do you think, Dr. Chako, where you come from now in Kerala, like Dr. Vankirkar also pointed out earlier, there is if I may use the word, oversupply of doctors. There are too many medical colleges in other southern states, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Situation is probably even worse. Do you think that's a good idea to bring up such a policy?
The number of medical colleges and opening new colleges is a political point. Um, uh, but as what Dr. Vankirkar mentioned, uh, we we have to strengthen the undergraduate medical education system itself. Like you mentioned, all MBBS graduates need not become postgraduate. But then what happened is, what proportion of the people go to a MBBS doctor now? Very few. They all go directly to the postgraduate doctor, specialist. But the ground reality is 95% of the illnesses can be managed by the primary care doctor. Uh, but people have lost faith in the primary care doctor or MBBS doctor because they are busy studying for postgraduate examination, and they are good at passing the entrance or an MCQ, as sir also has mentioned, MCQ tests and difficult to fail part. I agree with that. So we should be tested. We should be doing reforms on testing whether they know what they are supposed to know, and whether they are able to perform the basic skills. So once the examination system is improved, then the patients will have confidence in the MBBS doctors, like it used to be in olden days. And the other thing is, now since the public have a certain kind of faith only in postgraduate people, why not MBBS doctor have a career pathway which leads to them being called family doctors and other, so that they are kind of a specialized, as a in Western countries, they come out as general practitioners, where the health system makes sure that everybody goes through the general practitioners, and only the general practitioners, when they refer to a specialist, if the patient requires specialized attention, then only the GP determines. Now in India, we have free for all, which is good in a way. For common people, they can go to whoever they choose, but the system is not there, and a proper recognition of the MBBS doctor with competencies, giving them admission to a particular designation like GP, family doctor, or generalist, or so that becomes a specialist, and there is no clamor for uh, a young MBBS doctor or a medical student to become a cardiothoracic surgeon, or in demand kind of a glamour oriented specialty and things like that. So there is need for systemic overhaul and policy matter to be addressed, so that the frustration amongst the graduates is reduced, and they spend time and energy focusing on their competencies, for which they are awarded a degree and a license to practice.
Yeah, yeah. Again, we heard a lot about the reforms, probably which you doctors are demanding, but probably NMC thinks it very differently. Dr. Van Kherkar, you have been associated with Indian Medical Association also for a long time, and you have probably understood the issues of that doctors face, apart from what medical education faces in the country. So when NMC was brought in 5-6 years back in 2019, in fact, it was sort of projected as a panacea for uh, removing all the ills that probably is there in the profession. How, after 6 years now, how do you see the functioning of NMC? What do you think has it been able to achieve or not achieve?
Thank you for asking this question. I was the person leading the agitation entirely against the introduction of medical commission. We opposed it when I was the national president. It was on the pretext that it will end the alleged corruption in the Medical Council of India. And now, just last week, we have found that
As we
MCI
speak,
has
there has been an
removed
FIR
38
against 20
people,
people. Yeah.
38 people
Yes, yes.
for corruption. So the main pretext is gone. Basically, government wanted the entire medical regulator to be under its control, so that a non-elected, totally bureaucratic NMC was created. The stakeholders are not represented at all. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
little representation the stakeholders have in National Medical Commission, it is entirely in the advisory committee. It is not exactly in any of the boards which have the real power. So, it being an undemocratic institution, it will never function properly because it will never have the proper feedback from the all stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
So, our experience with the National Medical Commission for last 7 years is absolutely bad, and we feel that NMC should be made more representative, more democratic, and government should heed that, because such decisions government wants to take and it wants to use NMC as an extension of the health ministry. Nowhere in the world the regulators are as a part of a health ministry. They are have to be independent. An independent regulator free from government control is going to deliver results. So that is my very clear view about National Medical Commission functioning. Just coming back in very short about your previous point, that yes, government, such a strong government, politically strong government in the center, they should implement the master plan. Let's say a tribal area, say a Bastar, it requires doctors. Start a government medical college, give incentives to the medical teachers, ask the give priority to the local Bastar district students and make them compulsory for next 5 years. They will be practicing only or they will be working only in Bastar. That is going to solve this issue of non-availability or decreased availability of doctors in tribal areas. Otherwise, it's a reality of unemployment of MBBS graduates, especially in the state from where Sir comes. Kerala, if I'm not wrong, the doctor population ratio is around 500. And there, if an advertisement comes for 10 medical officer post, at least 1,000 doctors apply for it. That is why Kerala IMA has started an employment bureau, which is now taken up at the national IMA level also, and an employment bureau for MBBS doctors. So you can imagine the scale of unemployment.
Yeah.
And as you rightly said, medical colleges are going to become pharmacy, engineering, management colleges. Nothing more. And the
Yeah.
patient is going to suffer.
That is a fear in the long run, and let's hope that there are so-called reforms being implemented, but the real reforms also happen, as you and Dr. Thomas have pointed out. Thank you so much, Dr. Chako and Dr. Van Kherpakar, for joining us in the conversation. Really appreciate that you could take out time.